Hello there, I bought these shorts yesterday. They were on sale right at the end of the summer and they fit really well across the hips. I love the darker wash of them. However, as we take a closer look, we notice that the fit is fairly bad. Look at that. I could fit snacks down there. I could keep my lunch in there for later. Especially if I sit down, we're going to get a draft down there for sure. We don't want any, I mean, that's bad. So this is something that happens to me quite a lot. If you are a pear shape or an hourglass, many of you will know that when you get something to fit here, it doesn't fit here. I always say that when you buy things from a store, they're made to fit everybody okay and nobody perfectly. This is exactly what I mean. And here's the tip. Don't try and go down a size in order to fit onto the waistline, because you are going to be squeezing into the hips and it's going to be really uncomfortable. You're not going to end up wearing your shorts or your trousers, whatever you've bought. Always fit for the widest part of yourself. In this case, it's around my hips. If you're capable of it and you have the skills to do so, you can make an alteration or take it to a tailor and they will do it for you. And it makes such a difference. If the gap is small, sometimes a belt will help. But if you have a lot of fabric like this, a belt is not going to do the trick. It's going to look fairly bulky and not good. Again, you won't end up wearing your items. So today I am going to attempt an alteration. Now, as you know, I started sewing about a year and a half ago. This is something new I'm trying for myself, so I don't know how this is going to work out. I'm assuming the risk, okay? So you must do the same if you're trying this yourself, or you hand it over to somebody who knows what they're doing. I'm okay if these are not going to turn out quite right, but I'm pretty confident I'll give it a good go, and you know, it can't be much worse than what's going on here. So I'm going to take you on the journey today with me, and hopefully we end up with something that is a lot more flattering, a lot better fitted to my body, so that I can take these shorts on holidays in a few weeks' time and feel confident in them. So let's get going and do that. The first thing I'm going to do is take some tailor's chalk, and this would be a lot easier if I had somebody else to do it, but hey ho, this is where we are, so we're going to get on with it. I'm going to tuck my top up out of the way. All right, so I am going to take it in from the back, because when I take it in from the back, everything else is going to fit much better. So I'm going to concentrate on the middle center here. So I'm going to grab the amount of fabric that I can feel right across the center seam there. And when it feels comfortable, you don't want to go too tight either, comfortable, because I can always put a belt on top of it again. So I'm going to get my tailor's chalk and just mark on either side of where my hands are. And that will tell me how much of the fabric I need to take out. So hopefully, oh yeah, that's good. Excellent. All right, we're on our way. The next bit is the actual bit where I start cutting things apart and hopefully putting it back together. All right, so this is the only way I can get my camera to be propped up, so don't mind this box here. So the next thing we're going to do is I want to measure the distance between these two white lines here, because that is going to inform me how much distance is between there and what I need to take out. So I'm going to go from the inside lines and make sure everything is as flat as can be. And I noticed that I did this line kind of crooked. So I'm going to go into the center of that diagonal line just because really, that's my decision. Okay, so we are just about 2.5 inches. Will we put it there just to say 2.5 inches? Okay, between the lines. Now, notice also that the distance is more on this side to this side. So what I'm going to do is I'll be shifting everything over a little bit so that's more equidistant. So I might rub these lines out and redo them with the same distance, just so everything is equal. And I'm going to use a different color chalk so that it makes more sense. I'll go for pink. So half of 2.5 inches is 1 1/4. So that would be the midway point. So we want to make sure that we're right in the middle here. We're shifting the lines over. I'm going to put a new mark vertically here. And I'm going to do the same on this side. If anybody is a tailor out there, like professionally, and you're screaming at the TV, I'm okay with that, or your phone or whatever. I am not a professional. I am giving this my best shot. So I'm going to go this way and make sure that fabric is as flat as it can be and mark a new line in the pink here. Okay, now we've got our 2 lines that are clearly marked. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove the belt loop. Okay, that was harder than I thought it was going to be, but anyway, we're here. I'm going to leave this part on. I won't be touching that, that's okay. So what I'll do now is I might just pin that out of the way and also put 2 pins in my pink lines, because the more I work on this, it's just going to rub away. So let me just do that. The next thing now is to completely remove the waistband, and I'm going to go and take the waistband off to about just before these other belt loops on either side. So I'm going to open up these 2 lines all the way across to here. Okay, that should be open wide enough, and you can see it's all open there except for the pins are holding it together in these places here. Actually, while the pins are there, what I want to do is I also want to mark the same lines on this side of the fabric. That will be important. And I guess I'll be taking this label off because the idea is that this is going to close over and create a new seam, which means all this will be gone anyway. So I'll take that out. It works out really nicely because this label, I'm guessing, is just under 2.5. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. I use that as my gauge on this side. And again, if I'm off by like a fraction, it's not going to be a huge deal because it's going to be a lot better anyway. And I can always use a belt if I end up on the too big side. The thing is, you don't want to go too small. So I've ended up putting my lines out here. Then it would be too small and it just wouldn't fit and the fabric would be gone. So that's a no-no. It's always better to leave a little bit on the large side than anything else. So now this waistband is completely detached from the main part of the jeans. As you can see, the raw hem there. So what will I do next? Maybe darts. I'm going to put darts in here and here. So what I'll do is divide this section by 2, which we know is 1 1/4 inch, which will be the size of our darts from the top, and taper them down to this point here. Okay, now I have the waistband open and marked out, and the darts marked as well. And now is the commitment, this keeps flying around, the commitment of cutting this part open and making it smaller, I guess. Still to figure out exactly how this is going to work, but let's go to the sewing machine. I am going to now change the needle in my machine for a heavy duty needle for denim. I'm just going to cut the denim down the middle. It's not absolutely necessary, but just want to get it as neat as possible. I've also opened up the folded over hemline. You see the denim here that's folded over. I opened that up on the waistband just for getting that bit sewn, and then I'll turn it down again. I hope that's the right thing to do. I'm actually not going to cut it. I'm just going to go and sew. We'll figure it out. So this is the extra fabric I am going to cut off because we do not want that extra bulky seam. So I'm cutting it down to about 1/4 inch. Oh, there's no going back now. That was the extra fabric, the width. on the waistband. Now for the darts. I'm going to stitch off the denim and lift my needle and then take an extra bit of thread, and I'm just going to tie that off rather than backstitch, because backstitching here will create a little bit of extra volume which you don't want on a dart. Actually, I think I might just even try these on before I go any further. Let's do that. So I've just tried these on and they're not perfect, but I think I can still do something. So with the darts put in, definitely the waistband is fitting. Now, the waistband is still not attached, by the way, but I know that the fit is going to be a lot better. Now, however, the way the shape of my back down into my bum is, what has happened is it's created extra fabric here across the back yoke. So I actually think I'm now going to open up this panel here and across here and like do like a tuck in of that extra fabric, because otherwise it's going to be sitting out like that. You see that bulkiness? So there's too much fabric, so I need to put that inside of that yoke or attach it there. I'm creating more work for myself, but I think we're going to have a much better fit once that is done. And I think it'll be worth it. I'll be much happier with the fit then. So let's keep going. Let's deconstruct more of these jeans. I decided that I would close the waistband up before trying to tackle the yoke. I think that's a good idea because it won't interfere with the yoke and I can actually see exactly what I need to do before tackling that. So let's go ahead and close that up. I'm going to start with the, I just pricked myself, the very top of the waistband. This is where the layers start to get a bit thick, so we might reach a challenging spot. So I'm going to bring the speed of my needle right down. Ow, I did it again! My needle, I don't know why I pin this way. I never pin this way. I'm just keep stabbing myself. But let's go and try not to stab myself any further. The waistband is fully attached again, and I need to tidy up these loose threads, but that's a good job. So I will reattach this belt loop and put it there so it covers the seam, which you can barely see anyway. The seam's just there, and that belt loop is going to go right there. So I've just marked in exactly where I need to take in. So ideally what would happen is I need to get that pink line folded inside of there, so almost like a dart, and bring that fabric up so it just takes away that volume of fabric. Now the only thing I'm thinking of here is it gets really bulky in this seam here. I think that could be a challenging part, but I am up for a challenge because so far this is working out really well, and I think once that's done, we're going to have a really well-fitting pair of shorts. Let's go. So I've opened up the back yoke, and now really what I have is an X-rated pair of jeans. I really don't know what I'm going to do because this is a seam I've never done before. I think it's called a flat felt seam, which is common in jeans and things like that, denim. Wish me luck. I really don't know where I'm going to go from here. The moment of truth. Looks good from the front. Nice. And from the back, I just have to put the belt loop back on, but oh my goodness. They're great. Oh my God. No gaping, tiny bit, but I'm okay with that. If I put a belt on, that'll absolutely, I mean, oh, that's so good. Oh, I'm very happy with that. Very happy. Woohoo. Success.